Hi, good to have you back with me. This is the See the Light, Yes You Can Draw Club. I'm Pat Nipley, your master artist. I'll be with you through all of these club meetings. And this is club meeting number 7. Today we're going to be talking about space. Hope you brought a friend along to this club meeting. We're going to have a great time. Okay, the last time we were together, we talked about shape and how important shape is when you're doing a drawing, since all drawings are made up of lines and shapes. Well, we're ready to move on to space. Before we get started, let's talk about what you're going to need for today, because some of the things are not in your regular toolkit. You will need a pencil, an eraser, but some special things that you're going to need today are some black construction paper, just standard size, some white construction paper, a glue stick, and a pair of scissors. Now, if you don't have those items with you right now, just watch this episode and then you can gather those items and try this later, okay? Because we're going to use those tools at the end of today's club meeting. Now, space. What does that mean? There's two kinds of space. I don't mean inner space and outer space. What I'm talking about is positive space and negative space. So positive space is the space that the object you're drawing takes up, how the lines and shapes and forms make up space. Okay, it might be easier if I show you in a drawing. So let's say I have 2 sheets of drawing paper. Okay, this is my total space for my drawing. Remember we talked a few meetings back about the importance of planning, how you have to know exactly where you're going to place your subject on your paper? The fancy word for that is composition, where you're going to put things on the paper so that it looks great. You have to think of it in terms of the total space. So let's just say, for example, our friend the mug. We always go back to the mug. So if I were going to draw the mug, say here, a quick drawing. Now the mug takes up positive space. But the hole, see where there is no mug, the hole in the handle, that's negative space. And all of this around there is negative space. Now for this particular drawing, it's fairly balanced between positive space and negative space. Just as much area of my drawing is taken up by the thing that I'm drawing, my subject, as the negative space. Well, let's try something different. Supposing I were to draw the mug down here. Well, now I have very little positive space and a lot of negative space. So it might seem out of balance. Now that might be what you're trying to go for. Sometimes an artist will only put in a small object and fill a lot of negative space, a little bit of positive space, because they want to provide focus. Get your eyes to go right to that object. But supposing this just doesn't feel right because it's not balanced in terms of space. Now I'm going to add in more objects to make more positive space. So I could put in, say, how about a plate? There's a mug. Maybe I need some fruit sitting next to the plate. This is breakfast. I could show some steam coming out of the coffee. I could even put something in the background. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the table. Let's say this is a window. If it's drawn in as an object in the drawing, it's positive space. Negative space, where there's no lines, shapes, or drawing. Positive space, that's taken up by the objects. Okay? Now, I want you to take a look at this drawing. This is by an artist named Ben Shahn, and it's called Silent Music. You'll notice it's a jumble of folding chairs and music stands after the orchestra has already left. And you'll notice with all of those lines, it's hard to tell what's the positive space and the negative space. So many chairs, so many music stands filling up the total space of the paper. Now I want you to look at another drawing. This is by Pablo Picasso called Pigs. And just like our little mug, you'll notice that there's not a lot of positive space. There's just 5 pigs, no grass, no fence, no farmhouse. That's the artist's intent to get you to focus just on the 3 pigs in the front and the 2 pigs in the back. More negative space than there is positive space. And that's so that you can focus. So sometimes you will create a feeling with how you balance out your composition, like Ben Shahn with the chaos of the chairs. And sometimes you'll create focus with a little bit of positive space balanced out with your negative space. So with the drawing with the little mug, we decided it wasn't enough positive space. We added more things in. That's about planning. We've talked before about the importance of good planning for your drawing. In fact, there's a great Bible verse. It's in Proverbs. Proverbs is so rich with so many great scriptures. This one is Proverbs 16:9. In his heart, a man plans his course, but the Lord determines his steps. Wow, I think that's a really great verse. It's important for us to plan. You're planning your day. You're planning a special event like a party or maybe even planning a vacation. That's all great. But sometimes our plans don't work out, do they? That can be really frustrating. But the good thing to remember is God knows exactly what you should be doing. And we want to make sure we're in step with God's plans. So I'm going to recommend that every day you pray that your planning is marked by God guiding your steps. That's what we really want. Our plans to match His plans for us. Look at Proverbs every chance you get. There's so much rich, wonderful words from God in Proverbs. Okay, back to our drawing. So we're talking about space and the importance of planning positive and negative space. So I want you to do a little exercise with me, okay? So come over here. You're going to take your black piece of paper and you're going to fold it hamburger style. Do you know what that means? If you're going to fold something hot dog style, that means long like this, right? Like a hot dog roll. And if you're going to fold it this way, that's called hamburger style. Okay. So you're folding your paper hamburger style nice and tight. Get a good fold. Then with your pencil, and I know it's hard to see pencil on black paper, but this will show up just fine. On the fold, you're going to draw half a heart so that the fold is the center of the heart. And you just draw half. Half a heart. Okay, next step, we're going to cut that heart out. Just right on the line, but keep it folded in the hamburger style. Don't open it yet. So you're going to cut around the heart. Nice and neat. Now, this is a great example of positive and negative space. If I were to take this black heart and put it on my white paper, I now have an example of positive, the black heart, and negative, the white paper, space. But here's the cool part. If I open up my folded black paper, the emptiness, let's put it up against the white sheet, is now the positive space, and the black around is the negative space. This is the shape I intended to make, so that's the positive space. So here's what you can do. Take your glue stick and glue so that you have an example of both positive and negative space with both of them, where the black is the positive and here the white is the positive. It's a good reminder to help you understand the difference between positive and negative space. When you're planning your drawings, it's really important to think in terms of, do I want to create balance, have just as much positive space as negative space, or do I want to create a certain feeling, whether that's a feeling of chaos or disruption, like lots of positive and negative space, or do I want it to just feel very full, positive space with very little negative space, you get to decide. But there is a reason behind it, so think it through. Remember, it's important to plan your drawing. Just like Picasso's drawing with the pigs, he wanted us to focus just on the pigs. No background, no other items in the drawing. You can do that too. So here's your assignment before we meet again. Just gather up some items and arrange them on a table and look at the space between, that's the negative space, and the items themselves, the positive space, and decide how you want to do a drawing by planning it out. Positive and negative space. Okay, the next time we're together, we're going to put all of these elements together, line, shape, and space. So I can't wait to see you back here. Good to see you, friends. See you again.